Okay, so here we are, ready to be finishing up Excel 1. Let's bring up Excel. I'm going to click on my icon. Remember, I'm going to do Windows, search for Excel. If I plan to use it and I like it pinned to my taskbar, I can right-click, pin to taskbar. And if you don't like it on your taskbar, you can unpin it. But it's pinned to my taskbar, so I'm going to run it. And instead of opening a blank workbook, I'm going to explore over to my recents. If I don't see my recents there, I can always go open and browse over to where I'm keeping that file. So if there's any doubt about where it is, I can browse over to it, make sure, yes, I'm over in my Documents folder, in my cs101. There is my file I'm working with. Make sure you know where your files are for submission later on. And to know the exact path, you can always look up here in the address bar and see where exactly those files are. I see that I'm saving them over to my OneDrive Documents folder. See how that OneDrive is in there. If I don't want it to be in my OneDrive, I can browse somewhere else and look for my file. There I see it in my OneDrive folder. I'm going to open that. And this is where we got to last time. Let's just review what we know about Excel spreadsheets. Each one of these little boxes, what do we call them? Cells. These are the Excel part of Excel. They're cells of data. Each cell, as I click on it, shows me what's in it. Up on the formula bar, I double click any cell and I can edit what's in that cell. If I click on a cell and just start typing or accidentally hit the space bar, it has replaced whatever's there with what I just typed. I can hit escape to say, wait a minute, I didn't mean that, upper left escape, and it leaves it alone. Escape escapes from what you're doing inside a cell. I can click and drag across multiple cells, and if I hit space, it deletes everything in that first cell. If I hit the delete key though, while I select everything, it will, there we go. I have to have them all selected. Let's undo that, Control Z. If I have them all selected, I hit the delete key, it deletes everything. Hitting the space bar, it'll think, oh, you must want to edit that first thing. But if I hit delete before editing anything, it'll delete everything in those. And Control Z takes me out. Remember how we did the months of the year? I can just type January, and then that fill handle, the double solid cross, will auto-select, auto-fill to the right. And if there was something there, it'll overwrite it and wipe out what I just did. Control Z will undo that. If I ever change a number, like say I want that to be 140,000, it'll automatically recalculate the total because down here is a formula, not a number I typed in. I'm going to Control Z that to get back to my original number. Remember, if I want to see what the formula is, I can click on a cell. It shows my formula up there in the formula bar. Double click to see the formula, where the cell is. Escape, because I don't want to be clicking somewhere while I'm in the middle of editing that, or bad things can happen. And I can Control tilde or Control twiddle, upper left Control and the upper left key shows me where I have formulas all over my spreadsheet. I can see them all at once where I have formulas. And just while we're here, notice that this is the same as the sum of a range. So if you have just a few cells to add up, you can just do a simple mathematical formula starting with the equal sign, and Excel will do that calculation. If you have a large area you want to add together, that's where you often will see the sum. Such as down here, where I am summing all the numbers from row 9 to row 16. That's where the colon range format happens. I could have made this be equal A9 plus A10, or sorry, B9 plus B10 plus B11 plus B12, all the way up to 16. But that's a lot more to type than equal sum, parenthesis, the range indicated by the starting cell, colon, ending cell. Remember, whenever I click on a cell, the address of that cell is shown up there, as well as the row and column are highlighted. When I want to refer to what's in another cell, I can just give the cell address. That's called the address, the column and then row. Over to the right, I see a summation of a row of cells, B10 out to M10. It gives me the sum of that range. Remember how we did this? If I want, I'm going to go control tilde again, back to see my normal cells, control tilde. If I want to calculate the sum of some cells nearby, I can click on the cell and click the auto sum, and it will automatically figure out what it thinks I might be wanting to add together. Here it automatically selected just one number for some reason. If I wanted to select more, I can drag through and it automatically updates the range to match what I am currently dragged through. That's handy sometimes when you want to add up a whole rectangle of numbers. And if I don't want that, I can hit escape and say, wait, I didn't mean that, I was just starting a formula. Alright, now let's get this prettied up, and we'll be doing more fancy schmancy stuff here in a second. Okay, so what we want to do now, we have our numbers in here. We have colored the top title, put it in title format. Monthly estimates, we put it in Arial narrow font and of size 16. Every cell has its own stored format, just like paragraphs in Word or letters when you adjust the font. Each cell you can apply a format to, and everything in that cell will have that format. Now what we want to do is center the title all the way across my table, all the way out to column N. So I want to click and drag, starting with cell A1, with a fat plus, white, drag it all the way out to select cells all the way out to column N. Now with all those selected, I can do this little guy right here, a merge and center. By clicking here on merge and center, watch what happens. It treats all those cells as now they're one giant cell. I click on it, the entire cell is covering multiple columns is selected. This is called merging cells. I can unmerge cells. I can, there's a right click, unmerge. I can unmerge the cells later on if I ever want to. I want to merge and center this one as well. Click and drag all the way out to the cell I want to merge it in and center it in, and click merge and center. Now I have a lovely title over my table that's going to be prettied up as well. Because I would like this color of this cell also to be here, I can now click on this cell and choose a font color to match that far right green. Top theme color green. And just for fun, I want to make this title a little bigger to make it more impressive. Let's make that font size. Let's try something a little bigger. Let's try 24 point. I think that looks a little better. Yeah.
So how exactly did you merge it?
Oh, just drag through them all. Here, I'll do it again here. I'm going to do it. I just drag through all the cells, and then this little guy, merge and center. Do you see a merge and center icon?
Yeah.
Just click on that, and it should merge and center it.
Okay, and then you just do the same with month.
Yeah, do the same with monthly
And it
estimates.
should
Just
work?
drag through. Now, if you ever have, the reason it didn't say anything when I did that is because there was only something typed in column A. Watch what happens if I try to merge and center this. It'll say, wait a minute, you're going to lose everything except what's in the upper left cell. And I don't want to do that, so I can do cancel. So merging and center does throw away anything that's in the right, anything except the first cell. So usually you don't merge and center unless it's the only thing. Because I don't want to merge and center those. I'm going to be wanting those to still appear. So those are the only two cells we're merging and centering, and it's treated as one giant cell. And what is its address? Its address is A1. Its address is A2. Even though it extends all the way out to column N, And this address would be 01 and 02. So it's like all the other addresses are being hidden behind this one giant cell A1. Yeah.
I'm not really sure what happened. Somehow it got like estimately instead when I did merge and center. So I was trying to get just this part and I did that.
No, you don't want to center the months. You want to, there's going to be monthly estimate. There,
All
there
I
you go.
did was this.
Keep going only out to the same, stay on the same row.
Just
There you
that
go,
one?
just that row. Now do the merge and center.
Okay, now it decides to work. Thank you.
Yeah, if you accidentally choose another row, it'll throw away that too. So, now it's time to make these guys look a little prettier. The top row is going to be our title for our columns, and it should be highlighted nicely. So, let's select through this cell all the way out to here, and be very careful that you only select that one row. And we could apply different formatting, like give it bold and give it an underline. But we have cell styles here, already built in styles. So we don't have to do it ourselves, make it up ourselves. We can just say, apply style heading 1 to that row. And it applies a nice bold font, underlined in blue, and yeah, and gives it a certain font and bold as well. I click off of it and I see their lovely heading style, heading 1 style. Now just to be consistent, let's also apply heading 1 style to our expenses. But we're going to do it a slightly different way. I'm going to click on the income and I'm going to use the format painter because maybe I come to somebody's worksheet and I didn't know what style they applied. I can just say I want the same style as what's in this row to be applied here. So this is where it's really good to know how this paintbrush works. I select a cell that has the style I like, click the paintbrush, and now I drag through the row that I want that same style applied to. Knowing how to use that paintbrush can really help you out. You don't have to figure out, oh, what style were they using here? I have to go find that style. No, just say, oh, I like that style they're using, paintbrush, beep, and you've got that style applied. Now notice because the font got larger, the January is getting covered up a little bit, February is getting covered up a little bit. Don't worry about that. We'll be adjusting it later on once we get everything else adjusted in their styles. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more just to give you full view of everything. So we applied heading 1 and then we did the painter to apply the same style to those. And now we're going to give alternate colors to the cells, the different rows. So I'm going to have alternating colors. So how do I choose alternating rows? Well, let's do it the easy way. Let's make everything one color green, and then we'll come back and put darker green on every other row. So let's select through that and apply a fill of a light green. Let's get the right color green that they asked for. Accent 6. Let's find that. Accent 6 is that one. Yeah. A light green we're going to apply to those. Let's make it the lightest green, the very top one. Accent says 80% lighter. And let's do the same thing to all the numbers, not the total row, in the next. Click and drag through, let go, click and apply the light green. It remembers the last color I chose, so all I have to do is click on that. So I have a light green applied to everything now. Did you get that?
What did you click for that? Because I was still trying to figure out how to do the expenses one and it took a while.
To do the paintbrush thing?
Yeah, but I figured it out.
Okay. So then I just click and drag through those and then apply a fill color with a little fill paint bucket thingy and choose the lightest green. And I'm going to drag through this guy and do the same. Apply a light green, but don't do the total. We're just going the numbers above the totals, but beneath the heading and above the totals. Applying a background color. Now I'm going to close my head. No, I won't close that. Now I'm going to do alternating colors. This is the hard way. I'll show you an easier way later on. We're going to do it the hard way by clicking through that row, selecting that entire row, out to the column N. And now I'm going to apply a darker green to that. And I'll choose a slightly darker green. Not so dark that you can't read the printing. I think that one's a little better. And I click off of it and I see, oh, that's not bad, alternating color. Now I could do this one row at a time, select, fill, select, fill. But there is a way to select cells that are not connected by using the control, drag, and select. Allows me to select multiple rows that are not connected. Control, click, drag. Command, click, drag on a Mac. Control, click, drag. See how those are alternating selected with the gray? Now I can select that green that it remembers from the last setting, and I have alternating colors applied to those rows, just to make it a little more professional looking. Now I could have alternated the light color and then select the dark color, but I did make them all light green and then come back and choose the alternating rows filled with the darker green. There is a better way to do it. I'm showing you the hard way. I'll show you the easier way later on. So everyone got that working? Not too bad. Remember, the control select lets you select things that are not connected. I don't use it a ton, but it's nice to know I can control select through things and then apply some, or delete, or apply a color to it. It's good to know that's possible. Oh, and the numbers down below, the net row, we want to apply a style to the net row and to the total rows. Let's do the total rows. The total rows, let's select through those numbers. Click and drag the fat plus. And the cell style there, we want to be total style. Apply the total style to the total rows. See what it does? It makes it slightly bold and puts a border top and bottom. Apply that to that total row. I could have used the paintbrush, but I'm going to select through and choose the total cell style. I could have done it all at once by using control drag. Now this guy, we're going to apply another style to him. We want a light text with a dark green background. What style is that? Let's choose this guy. That's the accent 6. Kind of just makes that bottom cell, it's not terribly readable, but it gives it a little emphasis on the net row. That's accent 6 style. So I just drag through it and chose cell style accent 6. White font on a dark green background. Now it's looking a little more professional. As I zoom out here, that looks a little more professional than just the plain black and white text. Makes it look like I know what I'm doing in Excel. I not only know how to get the numbers right, but I actually make it look pretty. I'm gonna mark these, make these bold, just because that light text is not terribly readable. Let's do a Control B to make that bold. Makes it a little more readable on the dark background. Now you would love this if you're a graphics person and you like the colors, but this is going to drive accountants crazy because our numbers are not lined up neatly and showing pennies, dollars, and cents. Accountants like things lined up and the numbers in a nice format. So that's one more thing left to do, is show the numbers nicely. And we're not going to do them all the same though. We're going to format the numbers using, I'll open my home ribbon, using these little guys here. These are formats I can apply to certain cells. Hover over that, I see that's called accounting number format. That's called percent format, or percent style. Accounting number format, percent style. Comma style. And this suggests how many decimal points come after, if there is a decimal point. Well, we would like to put the top row of numbers in commission. That very top row, we would like this to be in accounting format. So I select through them, and then on the home ribbon, choose the accounting number format. And watch what happens to my numbers. They get displayed with $1 in front of them. Now one thing that often happens right now, people are panicking if they see this in a cell, all pound signs. Don't panic if you see all pound signs where there are numbers. That just means that there's not enough room to show that number. If I just click and enlarge that column, my numbers will show up okay. So if you ever see pound signs, that just means, oh, I need to enlarge that column. And if I want to let Excel figure out how large to make it, I can just double click on the border. It will auto fit that column for me. So I want to put that top row in accounting format. And I think we want to put the top row in our expenses also in accounting format. So I select through these numbers all the way up to December, and I put those in accounting format. This is making your accountants happy that you not only know how to get the numbers calculated right, but how to show them properly for an accountant. And let's see, what else are we putting in accounting format? We're also going to put our total rows in accounting format. So let's select through the total rows all the way out to column N. Don't forget December, or the total row, and accounting format. I'll zoom out just a tiny bit there. Oh, look, when I zoomed out, I suddenly get all pound signs. That's kind of annoying. Excel does that to me sometimes. Let's go down to that last row. That's going to also be in accounting format. Row or column B all the way out to column N, accounting format. If I hover over here, notice I do not see a shortcut key for accounting number format. I wish there were, because I do that a lot. You'd think like Control $$ would do accounting format. And we want to put the total numbers, or the net numbers, also should be in accounting format. Well, I'm getting close to being done now. I have my totals and my top row. If I zoom out too much, they become pound signs. Now we would like to put the other numbers in the proper format. Well, what's a good format for the rest of the numbers? How about comma format, comma style? So let's select through these and put these in comma style. Select through them and just click the comma. No shortcut key for that. All of these I want to also be in comma format. So I start here in B10, drag all the way down to N16, and choose comma format. You see where the cells were blank, I get nothing showing up. Where there was a 0 there, I get a dash to show up. Just to be consistent, let's have a 0 show up, or have a dash show up rather than have a blank, because we want to be consistent. So an easy way to do that is Control-C copy that one, drag through, and Control-V paste. Drag through, Control-V paste, and drag through that, Control-V paste. So I learned that a comma format, if there's nothing there, leaves it blank. If there's a 0 there, comma format puts a dash. Accountants like to see dashes, not a blank cell. But if I click on it, notice I can see, oh, there's a 0 there. I see that in the formula. If I double click, I will also see, oh, there's a 0 there. Accounting format, or comma format, means show a dash instead of the number 0. Now, we would like our column widths to come out nicely. Now let's learn a little bit about a column widths. In Excel, I can mess up my column widths horribly. I can have a column way too small, column way too big, another one way too small, another one too big. And if I want to fix those, here's the easy way to fix all of that. All I have to do is select through, drag through all the columns in the gray, just select through the gray, all the way to wherever I want to apply this, and just double click on any border between columns and watch what happens. It automatically fits all my columns to be the widest text. Let's do that again. Or if I make it too small, watch what happens. I can actually adjust all those columns to be the wrong width. But if I double click any column border of the selection, it'll automatically fit it to the wide. See how September got wider than July? It automatically fit the columns. Because they're all selected still, if I adjust one, I'm adjusting them all. And I can shrink them all to be tiny, double click on any one, and it fits them. The double click is fit. If I only want to auto fit one, I can just select on that column and just click on that border. It will auto fit just that column. And remember how I did that? I dragged through the gray column heading. That's what will adjust all those columns the same way. Dragging through the gray means do this to the entire column, like auto fit. Nice way to automatically fit your text. Of course, I could do a select everything by either clicking up in the upper left corner or typing Control A and auto fit. Oh, doesn't apply. I thought it would auto apply to everything. All right, let's see if we're done here. We have our heading, nice title, the income, zoom out a little bit, looking pretty professional. Oh, but then some graphic guy comes along and said, you know what, I don't read numbers, I need pictures. Okay, and it's the boss. We have to make a picture for the boss. They like to see pictures. So it's time to put in a pie chart, because that's what they need to understand the numbers. What numbers are bigger than other numbers? So we don't read numbers, we read sizes of pieces of pie. So now it's time to make a pie chart. What do we need to see the pie chart of? Oh, how did this guy not get in? He accidentally did get him in accounting format. I forgot to select him. I've got to put him in accounting format. What we need to do is a pie chart that shows the names of the slices of the pie are here. These are our expenses, not the total. So I want to select through the names of my expenses in row A, or so column A, row 9 to 16. Not the total, not the total. Then I go way over to the right side, and I want what are the total expenses for those, and I need to control select through those. The total of rows 9 to 16. I better have 9 to 16 here selected, as well as 9 to 16 here. Otherwise my pie chart will blow up. It won't work. So now that I have those two selected, the names, these are going to become the names of my slices of pie. This is going to be the size of the slice of the pie. So it will be illustrating how much I'm spending relative to the others in my estimate for the year. Now we're ready to insert a pie chart. We have the numbers selected that are going to control our pie. Now we go to Insert, and we go to, we can go to Recommended Charts, or we can jump right to pie charts. Let's see what they do in the book. Yeah, they jump right to pie charts. And I have multiple types of pie. We like 3D pies. I think they're the best. But in the book, they would like us to do a 2D pie. You know what? I want to do a 3D pie. Let's do a 3D pie. I think they're cooler looking. This shows me my expenses with a little bit of a key there that's not very readable, showing me what parts of my rent or what the size of my rent is relative to the sizes of my other expenses for the month. I don't want it sitting here right on top of my numbers though. I could move it, or I could move it to a separate worksheet. We want to move this to a separate worksheet. So I can right click on this, and I want to do Move Chart. Right click, Move Chart after creating it. Now did any of you get your pie chart not showing up? If the pie chart didn't show up or showed up really weird looking, it's probably because you didn't select the 9 to 16 correctly on both sides. If you have different numbers selected, it'll do weird things on you. But I want to now move it by right-clicking Move Chart. And I'm going to move it to a new sheet, and the sheet name is going to be, let's just call it Monthly Expenses. Let's give the sheet name monthly expenses. How about we call it pie chart? We'll call the new sheet pie chart. Pie chart of monthly expenses. By moving it to a new sheet now, I click OK. And now it takes that to a whole new sheet. Down here I see my original sheet. This one is called pie chart monthly expenses. Now I'm not happy with the style of this pie chart. It doesn't really have a very good legend. That legend is barely readable. Let's choose a different style by coming up here to my chart design, and let's see what styles are available to us. If I click that little down arrow thingy, the more thingy, I can see all the styles available that are built in. I could do this myself or just choose a built-in style. And let's choose a style that has a decently readable legend. I kind of like this one. It shows me the names of the slices of my pie because the numbers aren't so important as the relative sizes. So I like style 8 the best. Yeah.
I'm not seeing a chart design option on mine. You want me to just leave it?
You don't have a chart design tab showing up?
I'm not seeing any. You see one of them? Because I know you have them. I actually not using it. Got it.
Let's see.
And I
Chart.
don't know.
Too many complications.
Yeah.
I'm the computer app, so.
Just for fun, let's go to the Excel. Click on Excel right there, and click About Microsoft Excel. Let's see. I want to verify what version you have. So you have Excel for Mac version 16.7. Looks like that's the latest 2023 Microsoft. Okay. So let's see. Click on that again. Go ahead, close that window. And you have the pie chart selected. Is it selected? Now it's selected. Now there we go. Now chart design showing up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you have to have it selected before it'll show that.
Sorry.
Yep. Yeah, if you don't have it selected, like here, you don't see the chart design. Until you select it, then chart design shows up. And choose one that shows the legend. Let's see, 8 shows the legend with words, and it looks like the second choice on mine, style 2, also shows the names of the slices of the pie. I'll let you decide between 2 or 8. I like 8. I like the curvy corner, but 2 as well shows you the names. That's the important thing. Because your manager doesn't care about the numbers. He wants to know, the size of the pie and what category is that. So we see this and we see, oh yeah, rent big, website small, gas small, utilities medium size.
Mine's only showing the numbers. I swear I selected everything.
Once you hover over it, you have to click on the style that you want to keep.
Okay, and I did that.
Okay.
And it didn't show any of
Oh, really?
the words, it just said the numbers.
Here's one that shows the numbers and the words.
What one's that?
That was style 9.
Yeah, they're
And don't worry about it. If it doesn't show the words, pick a style just to know that those styles are available. You can, we're going to learn this now, you can go up to the plus now, and you can choose to add other things in here. You can actually turn on or off the title, turn on or off the data labels. So you can, if the data labels aren't there, you can check to turn them on. And this little tiny arrow thingy here will take you to more. You can decide where the data labels go. And I can change it to a data callout, which is kind of cool looking. Lots of other options. If you go to more options, a whole new world opens up where you can adjust your data labels in all sorts of powerful ways. You don't have to learn all these methods, but if you're curious, you're willing to explore, you can go to the more options and see all the available options for you. My chart labels are kind of small. Let's see if I can control shift greater than to increase the size. Yes, I can increase the size of my labels. Oh, but what happened to my title, the names of them? They went away. Let's do a control Z, get back to names of the slices. My names of my slices went away. There we go. Now I'm going to select, let's see if I can increase the font size. Well, let's increase the font size of my chart title. Let's give it a title. double click on your title, and replace the chart title with monthly expenses. And let's see, if I click on the pie, or if I click on one word, let's try clicking on one of the words. Now let's increase the font size. Yeah, when I click on one, they all get selected. See, if I click on just one of the labels, see how they all got selected? Now I can do the Control-Shift greater than and enlarge the size of that label to make it a little more readable. This gets a little obnoxious. Come back to way about that. That looks pretty good. So now I have one worksheet called Pie Chart of Monthly Expenses. The other worksheet named Sheet 1. Well, that's kind of a lame name for a worksheet. Let's double click on the name of my worksheet there in the little tab. Just double clicking will let you rename it. Let's call it Monthly Expenses. And they're actually estimated expenses. Let's add the word estimated. Make sure we know this isn't the actual numbers, this is our estimated numbers for the coming year. Because they're likely to be different. And with inflation, they're probably going to be bigger than we estimated. Something in business, always estimate conservatively. You'd rather have money left over than realize you don't have as much money as you thought. And everybody loses their job. So plan conservatively. That's a whole business approach. Okay, so we have a nice pie chart. I can always view my pie chart clicking on that tab. Clicking here, it goes back to my numbers. If I ever change a number, watch what happens. Suppose my rent went down and I say I didn't pay any rent in January or all through June. You don't have to do this, but suppose I decide somebody gave me free rent and I just hit delete and suddenly my rent is small. Look at that, my pie chart automatically changes to reflect those new numbers. Cool thing about Excel. I Control Z and get my numbers back. My pie chart, original numbers come back. So if you make any changes in your calculations, because the pie chart is connected to those numbers, it will automatically redraw. Something that is pretty cool to happen. So we applied a style. Let's see if we got, what else does the book want us to do? We changed our tab names. We moved our chart. We've given everything names, monthly finances. Let's see if they want us to do anything else. We may actually be done with Excel Project 1. They just do, at the very end, they just review that if you ever wanted this printed, let's just go through the printing part, because this, often you will want to hand a hard copy to someone. Let's just pretend somebody asks us to print this. If I go to File, Print, let's just see what options I have to print. I can print just all my sheets. I can print the entire workbook, or I could print in a variety of formats. I could adjust my margins on the printout. What's nice to be able to choose, I can actually print it to a PDF file and send it to someone that doesn't have Excel. They can still see my numbers, won't be able to edit them like in Excel. There are printers available, and I'm not asking you to print this out, but it's nice to know all the capabilities for printing. Typically, one of the best options, say I have a huge worksheet, and I just want to analyze what I have selected, like just from January to June. If I go File, Print, I can choose to print the selected cells. I can click Print Selection, and it will only print those numbers. Oftentimes with Excel, landscape format is better than where's my landscape? Landscape rather than portrait is usually better for Excel, and I can decide if I want to fit it to my worksheet, scale to. Typically, I want to fit to sheet or stretch. Try to fit them all on one page. Oh, I'm surprised it's not changing. But don't worry about having to print it out. Just be familiar with what's available here. Notice you can print to a PDF file or to an actual printer. I've never printed out to OneNote because I don't like OneNote. I've never used a fax either. That's old school things. You could print to a fax if you had it connected to your PC. And then probably have to tell it a phone number to send it to. So lots of capabilities in print. Just know that that's there. You don't have to do any printing. And I can go back and say, wait a minute, I don't really need to print it. Maybe I just want to see the information about this file. If I go to info, I can see who the author is, when it was modified. I could even add titles here in my properties of my file. I could add a title of like cs101 spring 23 Excel EX1. I could save that in my information stored with my file. I could put my phone number in here. I could put, hey, this is for a fake company, or this is my company at such and such an address, or here's my website. You could hide that information in your file properties. This is called the backstage view of your file. Note one last check here in the book to see if we haven't missed anything critical they want us to know. They do a few little calculations. We're going to skip that part. Correcting any errors. I think we're done. Making sure there's no major changes we make. Yep, that looks like it. In the book, they discuss functions and things. We'll be looking at functions in the next project. So, I think, yeah, we're done with this one. So we can save this, and it's ready to upload to Schoology. Yep.
Okay, so I'm not sure what I did wrong, but mine aren't formatting the same when it comes to the interest ones and all those where you put a dot over it.
The interest.
And I'm not sure what exactly I did wrong because mine
This guy
are
right here?
showing up like this. They're not showing up like. Mine's just showing 100, not 100.00.
Oh, just select through them all the way out to column N, and just click on the comma, comma style.
Okay.
That should do it. And Control S to save, and it's ready to upload to Schoology. You know what? Rather than get started on Excel 2, we can wait till Friday to get started on that. I can let you out early today because you're all so good, well behaved.